I really want y'all to get this and keep looking at this as an ongoing hobby. And I'm going to shout out Sandra Fry here because she says, infinite banking is a lifestyle. You can't just treat it as a hobby, but you need to find enjoyment out of looking at your stats and looking at your numbers. This is just what I do in my own life to expand my banking portfolio and keep running more and more money through there, because the ultimate goal, and really, yes, it's important to track the stats, but also I'm wanting to hit my freedom number. I'm wanting to know what this is going to look like when I want to start taking out tax-free distributions from my policy and live off of that money during these retirement ages. I want to look at this so I can keep donating to charities and doing other adventures or nonprofit ideas that I have. Hello, Money Multipliers. Welcome back to another episode of the Money Multiplier podcast. I'm your host, Hannah Kesler, and we ask ourselves, do our dollars make sense? So welcome back to another week here. Hey, if y'all don't know, I actually have 2 shows that go every week. The podcast, Money Multiplier podcast, uploads on Tuesdays on all podcasting platforms and YouTube. And then on Thursday mornings at 9 a.m. Eastern time, I have the Money Mornings with Hannah Kesler. So y'all can come and join me live. So it's a live stream that will broadcast out to the Facebook channels, the YouTube channels, LinkedIn, Instagram. And so you can actually chat in on those comments when it's being live streamed to the different platforms. And then also, all of the recordings will get uploaded to my personal YouTube channel, Hannah Kesler. So Hannah spelled the same ways, forwards and backwards, Kesler with 1 S. You can find me there. And I've been liking it. I started launching it last month. As of this recording, in August, it was my birthday, was the first ever episode. And I've been enjoying it, especially with the live viewers and live comments that I get. It's been a lot of fun. So come over there, challenge me, ask me your questions, whatever's going through your noggin at that point in time in the morning. So grab your cup of coffee and join me. But today is a episode where I get this question a lot. How do we keep expanding our banking system without overextending ourselves? How do we keep scaling? And it's almost like if y'all are a business owner, it's hard to scale more and more and more because we have these limitations, whether it's our thoughts, our beliefs, or how we're spending our time within our day. I challenge a lot of y'all to go and read the book Who Not How by Dan Sullivan and Benjamin Hardy. But it is, it's a technique to scale and build, and specifically within our policy portfolio, people get nervous, especially when we're putting like 20, 30%, 50% of our income goes in towards policy premium. I mean, it's a scary thought and I can understand it. And so a lot of people ask me, well, how do you know when you're ready to keep expanding your banking system? I've already made it to this point. I got one policy. It's established. I've been using it for 2 or 3 years. And how do I really know that I'm ready to get into this next journey? I'm through my crawling phase. I'm now walking. And where should I go from here? So I wanted to share a tool with y'all of how I know when I'm ready to start additional policies. And I'm really going to give you a glimpse into my own portfolio, my own net worth of my numbers. And to be honest with you, this is going to be going on the internet, so I'm not going to share everything. Okay. I mean, hey, if you want to have one-on-one conversations, I'm an open book. I'll show you what I got going on. But specifically for the podcast channel and the YouTube channel, I'm not going to go and spill out everything to the internet. But I want to share with y'all this tool that I use to track my monies and my money habits and my cash flow that's coming in. Because if you track your stats, I'm telling you, then you feel so much calmer. I know a lot of people, when we're not used to having money conversations or looking at our bank accounts or credit card statements every month, sometimes even every day. I mean, I look at mine. If it's not every day, it's every other day. I'm looking at my bank statements and everything because I want to be in the know, right? That's why I always say, this is a joke from Dad. He says, hey, some people, they think if they still have checks left on the counter that there's still money in the bank, but you don't know that. So you need to really be diving in every single month and taking a deep dive into your financial situation. And when I do this, one, it gives me clarity on where I'm at within my money and my financial life. And then two, it allows me to align my goals and opportunities that I'm trying to go after. It allows me to have this almost roadmap of how am I going to get there. Yeah, you tell yourself you want to have passive income of 10,000 a month. That's what you wrote on your vision board in November of 24, Hannah. But how are you really going to do that? Because a goal without an action plan behind it, I mean, it's just a faith. It's just a wish. You know what I mean? And yeah, getting back into my spiritual era and attending church and stuff, there is a surrender piece to it, that, hey, I got to surrender to Jesus and the Lord here too. But, you need to really hone in on what's going on, because if you don't, just like in one of my live stream episodes, I did a whole broadcast on the cost of doing nothing. And now you're just coasting and floating through your financial life, and you're just hoping and praying that you're going to get there without putting actionable habits and steps behind it. So I will send you this tool as well, y'all. Before I put it up here, I'm going to put my email on the screen for all my listeners. It's Hannah spelled the same way as forwards and backwards. I have to say it every time. Hannah at themoneymultiplier.com. And I'll send you this tool. And where this tool came about too is that it's Dad. I mean, literally everything that we do within the Kesler family, it's because of habits and traditions that my father created and he was doing in his own life. And then he was sharing it with us kids. Now, how Dad does it is kind of not within the century and the era that we're in today. All right. So he actually tracks all of this stuff. He's got a big old poster board and he takes it around with him everywhere. And literally some of these pieces of paper that he has to track all of this, literally since 2012, when he started teaching the infinite banking concept, all of these little piece of papers, literally it could like disintegrate at any moment. So I'm like, Dad, we got to move this into a better system. We have technology. Let's get up to speed here, mister. But I learned this from him. And what my mom then did, because, okay, mom's the techie guru type of person, right? She's very much of an introvert and just loves to understand how things work. And so she put this into a digital format just within Excel. And she gave it to me. She gave it to Zach, my younger brother, and Sean, my older brother. And this is how we've been tracking our stats and our net worth every month. And she even gave it to, I know Uncle Brad has been using this as well. But when you start to get clear and track your stats, and on top of that, when you track your stats and report it to other people, like your spouse, your intermediate family members, you will start to see those numbers evolve and grow. That's why on here, I told y'all that, hey, on my vision board, I wanted to do 10,000 a month in passive income over the course of 2025. That's my goal by December 31st of 2025. And by doing so and speaking it into existence and telling my dad about my goal and my close girlfriends about it, I've been noticing that that money keeps evolving, because it's almost like I'm holding my own self accountable when I'm having those conversations with my immediate people that are close within my life. But you also need to, as I'm sitting here thinking and my ADD takes over my brain, you also do need to have like that counsel behind you, just understand not everybody is on this journey alone. Everybody's trying to figure out the money game and play the money game smartly. And there's things that I'm learning as I evolve and I mature and I grow up in this whole world too. So that's really cool about this podcast show. You know, y'all can really grow with me. I just look back at a lot of like the YouTubers I used to watch when I was like in middle school and high school, and I really like grew up with them, you know? So anyways, let's get into the content here, and I'm going to post this up on the screen. And I do encourage y'all, okay, so if you are listening to this, you may want to hop over to the YouTube channel, Money Multiplier Podcast, because then you'll be able to see the big screen here. But you can notice that in this Excel sheet, there's different files at the bottom. I have my hard assets, the passive income, my IBC policies, my bank account, my income. I put commission income because, right, I'm 100% commission, so it can fluctuate every month. And then my net worth and then my monthly budget. So if I get into it here, my first tab of hard assets, this is where I list out all of my assets at. Now, I could go deeper into this, you know, jewelry, art and collectible items. You know, I should spend some time to get deeper into this. Again, this is the learning that I was speaking about a little bit earlier, you know, how I keep evolving with my sheet as well. But in here, I have my primary house, my van, and then my Bronco. So that's, you know, the big hard assets that I have. I have their values all listed here. I have my owed amounts. What is my debt left on it? And this owed amount is a blend of taking loans from the family bank, aka the Bank of Brent, and me paying him back. And it's also loans back to myself within the policy. So I'm holding myself accountable, playing honest banker, telling myself that, hey, this is the value of it, but you still owe this amount of money. Economic value added, EVA. Treat that piece of property, that item, whatever it is, that it has value. There's a cost to your capital and everything is worth something. Okay. And so having those good habits of you now implementing being your own banker, this is just going to carry you and be more successful. But obviously, right, how we and why we enjoy these policies is because I'm in debt to myself. And if something happens, I can't make this payment that month, it's okay because I'm in debt to myself rather than somebody else, as I always say, who can come and seize whatever collateral that I gave them, aka a bank financing it. Also, just to go a step deeper within the family banking system, it is nice to have the peace of mind. You know, obviously, dad is going to get his money. He wants his money. Okay. I mean, he's very strict on us kids. He always says that this is business, right? I mean, yeah, I love you, but at the end of the day, this is business and I'm not going to cut you breaks because this is business. We need to respect the business and we need to respect the money because money is going to flow and grow to where it's respected to. So I do, however, if something happens and I come to dad and I'm like, hey, I just don't have the money right now. Can you give me a few days? He'd be more willing and accepted to work with me rather than the local banker, right? Okay, enough of that tangent. So then you have my net. Okay, so how much I truly have an equity in this. Okay, the net is the value, what it's worth minus the amount I'm owed, and then that's what's left over. And then at the bottom, you can see how it calculates my total net of my hard assets. Okay, then I get into my passive income. Now, this is all what we're trying to go after. What I also like to call your freedom number. So my freedom number to me, I'm working on it still. Okay. I'm in my prime working years, and this is not an overnight process, right? This is not a get rich quick kind of deal. Wealth is really built and established. So a freedom number to me means that when my passive income rises and exceeds my expenses, that's when I hit my freedom number. But I would go a step deeper. I've been toying around with this thought in my head. I've never really said it out loud, but I'm going to take that money, what my expenses are, and have my passive income get to the point where it's paying for all of it. But then I also want to double that number. And I'll get into more specifics here when I get into my monthly budget tab. But I want to double that number because that extra doubling of it, that's what I'm going to use as my fun money to live off of so that I can go do fun things. If I want to go take a trip to Greece or sail around the Mykonos Islands and whatever I want to do, that's the money that I can use to go do it. And I don't got to sit over here and work to earn my little green men, right? So, anywho's, this is the passive income report. So I'm almost there. Like I told y'all, what I really want to do is I want to get this number to 120,000 a year, because then that would equate to 10,000 a month in passive money. I'm still working on it. Okay, so as this episode airs, it's going to be Q4 of the year. And so hopefully we're going to strive for it. But let me tell you, I have been learning a lot about taxes, and I'm a student of taxes right now. And that's where a lot of my money's been going to. Love you, government IRS. I'm kidding. Hey, sorry to interrupt the episode here, but I want to take a quick break. If what you're hearing today has made you curious about infinite banking, how it works, I want you to go watch my free presentation. In it, I walk you through the same steps that my family took to pay off $984,000 of debt in 39 months, and how we've been able to recycle and recapture every single dollar since then. This isn't theory. This is real. I mean, this is what the wealthy have been using over 200 years to keep the money within the family. This is literally where banks, conventional banks, store a boatload of their dollars at. And it's the same process that we've helped thousands of families across the country put into action. So go to themoneyMultiplier.com/presentation and see for yourself how you can start taking control of your money today. All right, let's get back into the episode. Okay, so that's my passive income. Then I have my IBC policies, okay? I list out all of the companies of where it's held. I got my policy number, the in-force date. I love looking at that because I can just track how old these policies are. That's what gets me excited. The oldest policies are always going to be much more matured and efficient than the newer policies that I've started. So I like to track the in-force dates. And then also it reminds me too when my anniversary date of my policies come up, because I look at this monthly at least. And so in preparation for the next month, I know that here coming up soon, I got a policy premium coming due. So I'm prepping myself for it. Then I got my premium amounts. I keep track of my owners, the beneficiaries, and the insureds. That's also important, y'all, because we go through life updates. Think about yourself as almost like your computer. You go through these updates. We get married. We get divorced. There's death in the family. We have additions to the family. So update those owners and beneficiaries as time evolves. It's very, very important. Something I really would like to do too, I just haven't dug into it, is I really want to track the dividends each year from my policies. I have all of the paperwork actually in my file cabinet in my office. So I keep literally every single piece of paper that comes from my policies, but I just haven't put them on the spreadsheet yet. So that's another thing I really want to do. And then at the end of it, I know how much too is going towards policy premium. So this is important for later of how much I have going towards policy premiums. Now, loan information. This is important, okay? This keeps me accountable. This tracks my loan interest I need to pay. And it also gives me a place to store the available amounts that are within inside of my policy. So I know I can go just look at this one sheet instead of having to log into these different carrier websites and get updates that way. Use of loans, I think, is important. Again, it holds you accountable. I know some of y'all have taken out your policy loans and you're supposed to use it for a specific thing, but you didn't. And now you're blaming the policy because of your own bad behavior with your policy, right? That's the cool thing. I mean, the only person who can screw this stuff up is you and how you use your policy. So hold yourself accountable with the use of the loan and use it for what you specifically intended, instead of your girlfriend calling you up and saying, hey, we should go to Disneyland this weekend. You want to come in with me, and we'll split a hotel room, and let's buy tickets. Oh, but then let's also add on the fast passes as well, because Parkinson's law, we don't like waiting in lines anymore. Okay. Hush it, Hannah. I apparently want to go on tangents today. All right, use of loans is important. Then what I also do is I keep track of my bank account money. Okay. In all of my accounts, I have my account number here. It's also just a good thing if I need it at the tip of my fingers. Let's say I'm doing a deal or depositing a check or whatever, right? So I have that. I have the amounts listed. I update this every single month. Then I have the total net that's in here as well. Now, this is important for later. That's why I left the dollar amount there. But I keep track of the bank accounts. Now here, I track my income, okay? I track my income, and I also track how much I'm sending to the government each and every year. I just started doing this in 2023 because that's when I officially kind of became a big girl. So my track history is only back to 2023. Obviously, there's more taxes from there, but I remember the Cracker Barrel days. I remember getting so excited about getting a tax refund. But then that's when mom and dad set me down, and they're like, hey, you don't want refunds, because what that means is the government has been using your money throughout the year, and then they're just giving it back to you at the end of the year. So what's the opportunity cost of that capital? So that was the conversation that they had with us. But what I really want y'all to see here, and what I think is the most important factor, especially if you are within the sales industry, comparing your income year after year. You could also say this true with corporate people, right? And just seeing, how is your income building? Are you enjoying the company you're with? Are they financially rewarding you for your loyalty, your hard work? And you want to see that increase. Now, for me, coming from the commissions world and the sales world, this is important to me because I kind of want to track where I'm at. And I'm down this year, as you can see, right? I mean, obviously, we haven't gotten into these numbers. These are just placeholders here right now, because you can kind of see the formula in this calculation. Yeah, I could have never done that formula. Oopsies. Oh, crap. I hope I didn't just mess up my spreadsheet. No, I think I'm good. Okay. So, Mama went in there and did all the formulas. I don't know how to do all of that. So thank you, Mama TK. But I think it's important to track where you're at from the previous year and keep track of those stats. That's important to me. It gives me goals. It tells me what's working, what's not within my business. So in my opinion, that this is important to track. And then you have your net worth. Okay. So it takes up literally all of the existing spreadsheets and put it right here as your total. So I can track how my net worth keeps growing month after month, year after year. So I go in here and I keep spreadsheets yearly. Because given I just started doing this in 2025, but my goal is that I want to save this sheet for my 2025 year and then open up a new sheet for 2026. So I can track kind of how my net worth has been growing, instead of just going in here, backing out the spaces. And then I don't really know where I started from, just from my memory bank, So net worth there. Now, monthly budget. Woo-hoo. I know this is not everybody's favorite thing to look at, but we need to look at it. Trust me, I even have those days where I'm like, oh my gosh, I really need to pull out my credit card statements and look to see how much I've spent at Publix and how much I spent at Dick's Sporting Goods for those expensive pickleball. Thank you. I'm looking out my window, seeing my paddleboard. But the pickleball pallets. Let me tell you, those suckers are kind of expensive. If you want like a really nice like microfiber like pallet, I mean, it is kind of costly. I was just at Dick's yesterday, so I know this can look like a chore to some people, but when I get in here, and this doesn't take me any longer than about 30 minutes, honestly. So I can spend 30 minutes of my time in a month looking over my budget and my cash flow that happened. Because once I do so, it gives me so much more, just a weight's been lifted off my shoulders. I know what's going on. I'm not flying through this black box, right? So I also put up questions here to kind of keep my mind on track. How much can I save weekly? Where am I keeping my saved money? How will my life look like when my money is working for me instead of me going out and working for it? And I even put this new note here that I'm going to take on a monthly basis 25% of what I make and set it aside for taxes. What I've also been doing, if this is helpful for anybody, and you have like my younger folks like myself, I've been starting to make quarterly tax payments, and that's been helpful to minimize like this big lump sum that has to go out. Now, I could, and I've thought about this, just haven't done it because I just want to stay on top of it right now. But I could even use a policy to pay that money, store it within my policy, and then at the end of the year, pay it that way. Because that's what I do with my property taxes, but not like my, IRS bill taxes. So, anyways, another tangent. So as I get in here, I got my expenses. I have up here, these are all my personal expenses. And then I also have my business expenses down here. Now, all in all, I mean, let's just call it 45,000 a month. That's my overhead, personal and business. Now, before I get into this, hey y'all, I do still use the app Rocket Money, okay? I love Rocket Money because I can kind of track things just at my fingertips. And I also use it to update this spreadsheet here. Again, I pay them $5 a month to hook up all the credit cards, the bank accounts to it. So that is a good tool and resource. Okay. But I do know when my people are practicing like velocity banking, using the home equity lines of credits and using the one pot system method, it can get a little confusing. So do what works for you. I personally like it, but do what works for you. Okay, just a little plug there, just that tool that can automate your life a little bit. So my overhead is 45 a month, we'll call it. I track this monthly expenses every month. And what I look at is I compare my income to my monthly budget and I track the net income minus my expenses that month. What is the leftover money? And when I see that that leftover money is trending in an upwards direction, that's when I have the conversation with myself and I'm like, well, are you ready to start more policy premium? Are you ready to commit to more premium in your policy? And if the answer is yes, then that's when I'll take the excess, the overflow of the cash, and I'll start a brand new branch office, another bank, another policy, and I'm allocating that money too. If I go back to my policies, that's why I started this one back here in the end of 2023 with 24,000 a year, which is 2,000 a month, because I was noticing that I was keeping and saving an additional 2,000 a month, and I was comfortable with putting those extra dollars into the policy. This one here, back in 21, I was keeping an extra $1,000 a month. So that's when I went in there and I opened up another policy, 1,000 a month, 12,000 a year. So you can see how I've been kind of stacking on top of that. And when I do have the conversation with myself, hey, are you ready to start more in premium? I'm always minusing out my existing premium that I am paying into my policy. So let me just give a quick example here. let's just say that I started a policy for $1,000 a month, and that's what I'm allocating towards my first policy. And I'm trucking along, I'm using my policy, I'm using it to pay off stuff, create income through investments, whatever it is. And I'm tracking my stats here. And now I'm to the point where I'm looking at my cash flow. And let's say that my income is $10,000 a month and my expenses are $8,000 a month. That means I have a leftover $2,000. Well, I already have $1,000 going towards policy one, so I'm going to take the remaining $1,000 and I'm going to allocate that towards policy two. So now I have a total of $2,000 monthly net income that's going towards policy premiums. Does that make sense? That's how you should be looking at your cash flow and when you're expanding your banking system. Now, if something happens, remember your policy premium can always be lowered as well. So that's what I always look at too, is what is that absolute minimum, my base premium that I have to pay into this policy? You should know that number as well. That's your final minimum. Because remember, policy premium, you can always reduce it. Yeah, you could throw in some extra dump-ins, but that's a conversation for another time, not today's episode. So that's how I know I'm ready to keep expanding. Now, another thing to look at here, this 45, let me go back to my bank account. You notice that there's 127 that's stored within inside of my bank account. I keep no more than 3 months of my overhead expenses at the local bank. If you take 45 times 3, and if I do mental math, what is that? Like 135 or so, let's just call it. Don't laugh at me. I'm terrible at mental math. But 135,000 is the most I personally want inside of my checking or savings account at the bank. This is my oh crap money. This is my, if crap hits the fan, what am I going to do? At least I have 3 months of overhead expenses covered as I'm going through cutting. No, I don't want to say that. That's no, okay. But this is my 3 months of overhead expenses in the event something were to happen, okay? And I know that I can survive off this money, and I have those 3 months covered. Okay. So that's how I kind of track my stats, and I know how much is being left here just inside of my bank accounts. Because if it's over that number, I take that additional monies and I am deploying it into my investments that I have, or I take it to pay back my policy loans, or I'll take some of that money and I'll start a new branch office with it, another policy, right? So I really want y'all to get this and keep looking at this as an ongoing hobby, but I don't want to use the word hobby. And I'm going to shout out Sandra Fry here, because she says, infinite banking is a lifestyle. You can't just treat it as a hobby, which I agree with, but you need to find enjoyment out of looking at your stats and looking at your numbers. So I hope this was helpful. This is just what I do in my own life to expand my banking portfolio and keep running more and more money through there, because the ultimate goal, and really, yes, it's important to track the stats, but also I'm wanting to hit my freedom number. I'm wanting to know what this is going to look like when I want to start taking out tax-free distributions from my policy and live off of that money during these retirement ages. I want to look at this so I can keep donating to charities and doing other adventures or nonprofit ideas that I have. So I really just hope that this was of value to y'all. If you have questions, reach out to me. Okay, so there's my email, hannah@themoneymultiplier.com. And just let me know your thoughts. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions on this. I will send you your own net worth statement as well. You can plug in your own numbers, play with it from there. But I encourage you, just keep hanging around the campfire. Keep coming to the virtual events, the live events that we do. If you are a Money Multiplier member, you should be actively talking with your implementation consultation agent and your money mentor. They're always there as well. And just keep expanding your mind as you walk through this journey with life. Because again, the infinite banking concept, this is a process that you're adding to your financial life. It's not just about the product, it's an ongoing change and growth that you're going through. And it's a beautiful thing if you really think about it. So that's all that I have this week. You have noticed that I'm bringing in other money mentors onto the podcast so you can get to know them, ask them their questions. They got different experiences. You know, those folks, they're married, they have children, they're at another point in life than myself. So I thought it would just be helpful to hear different perspectives from different folks who are walking down the same journey with y'all. So thanks for being here for another episode. I will catch you on Thursday if you're going to come and join my Money Mornings with Hannah. And you should also go and check out my hannahkessler.com website. All right, tell me what you think. I've been kind of making some changes over there. All right. That is all that I have for today. And until next time, Money Multipliers, do well, be kind to one another, and I'll catch you very soon. Bye, y'all. Thank you for tuning in to another episode. Hey, if you liked this content, click right here. It will take you to last week's episode. I'm here every single Tuesday. I'll catch you Money Multipliers next week. See you then.